Bună ziua! Așa cum am zis altădată, poate cea mai bună soluție de a explica unele aspecte care sunt foarte controversate despre intervenția la colectiv și ce s-a întâmplat acolo și toate comentariile care vin de multe ori din partea unor persoane care sunt total în afara temei, având la noi un coleg din Israel care este unul dintre experții renumiți în domeniul medicinii de dezastre, am rugat să acorde un interviu colegilor noștri de la departament, dar fără să particip eu la interviu și fără să fiu în camera cu el. O să redăm acest interviu integral, să vedeți punctul lui de vedere, care e unul dintre punctele de vedere despre modul de intervenție și modul de organizare al intervenției și care poate să clarifice unele aspecte care trebuie clarificate în fața populației. Deci acest interviu vine de către un expert care este foarte renumit, doctorul Kobi Peleg din Israel, și care este un expert care a fost în zone unde au fost dezastre și care s-a confruntat inclusiv în Israel cu intervenții la accidente colective și multiple victime. Și părerea lui, iată că o să o ascultați în următorul interviu.
I'm the head of the National Center for Traume and Emergency Medicine in the Gertner Institute in Israel. And I'm a professor in Tel Aviv University for disasters and emergency management. I was the person that established this department in Tel Aviv University. I was involved in a lot of disasters delegations in the past, in all over the world, sometimes as in the command headquarter of the Israeli Field Hospital to disasters, and sometimes as an UNDAC expert. Big disasters like earthquakes or something like that, it's totally different. When you have to deal with thousands or hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands, like Haiti or Nepal or Indonesia or some other situations like that. If you are a country that has a lot of resources and you are really prepared, like Japan and US, so you can, using your resources to deal with the situation, and usually you wouldn't ask, or you will ask for a very specific relief from other countries. If you are not in this situation, and most of the countries all over the world are not in this situation, you will try to use all the resources that you have in your country, and then you will ask for an international relief. It's very important to understand that a mass casualty, it's a chaos. And you are trying to organize the chaos. It's really not easy. Why? Because it's a very dynamic situation. It means that all over the time, every minute you have another information, the resources are changed. Even try to think only about mass casualty. It doesn't matter if it's a club night with the burns, or it's a train accident or two buses that try to think about a situation like that the resources, I mean even only the ambulances and the medical teams, every minute you have another number. But they are coming and then they are running, they transfer the injuries, so they are running to the hospital. So the number of resources is changing all the time. The injuries, you don't know all the number of all the injuries in the beginning. You don't know the severity, that it's very important for us. I mean, if you have 50 or 100 minor injuries, it's a big number, but no one will die. I mean, nothing urgent. But if you have only 10 or 20 severe injuries at the same time, it's another concert, because we have to distribute them between several hospitals, because you have to understand that mass casualty, even if you bring only 4 severe injuries to the same emergency department at the same time, and it could be the best hospital in the world, it's a big deal to the hospital. So if you will separate them to several hospitals, the chance that every hospital could deal better with the situation and to save more lives will increase. So I can continue and continue, but what I try to say, you know, when you sit under the neons after the event, it's very easy to criticize everything and to say, hey, why you react like that and why you make this decision. And even when we sit after mass casualty, we told to ourselves, if I knew the information that I know now in this situation, maybe I took another decision. So it's very, very complicated situation. You never can really be prepared for the situation because you don't know when it will happen, where it will happen, how many resources you will have at the same time, how many injuries you will have, what will be the severity of the injuries. Some of them, if you ask me if some of them are shocked, yes, some of them are shocked, some of them after that with PTSD and situations like that. This is the reason that I say not everybody can deal very well with managed mass casualty incident. You have to be, I don't know if the word tough is the right word, but you have to have the right personality to deal well with a mass casualty incident. In mass casualty incident, it's very known that we have theories and I mean what we want that it will happen and what's really happened at the scene. And it's totally different a lot of times. It means you cannot. I think that I can give you a very good example for that. I mean, in all the theories that are dealing with mass casualty in the past, it was written that because mass casualty is a situation that you have not balance between needs and resources, I mean, the needs are much higher than the resources, we say, okay, minor injuries and critical injuries will be treated later on because minor injuries, they don't have a problem of surviving, and critical need too many resources in the beginning and the chance of survival is lower. So we will focus first of all on moderate and severe injuries. What it means? It means that the first injuries to arrive in the hospital are the severe and the moderate. What really happened? I published a paper about it. What's happened in fact, evidence-based, the first people that will arrive in the hospital are the minor injuries. Why? Because they are available. They can drive, they can come to you and ask you with your private car if you can take them to the hospital. Sometimes they can drive by themselves, etc., etc. They will be the first because the severe injuries and the moderate are waiting, laying on the ground, waiting that someone will take care of them because they are not available to move by themselves. So it's a part of answer to the question that you ask. It means you cannot really control all the injuries. We have to deal with the situation. We have to save as much life as we can. So what we are doing, we try to take care on the injuries, usually first of all on the severe and the moderate. And what will happen is it could be that every available injury will try to come as fast as he can to the hospital without our control. We are not policemen. We are not telling the people what to do. We try to treat them as best as we can. Can happen that people that were available, that can go by themselves, arrive first to the hospital? Sure. It's happened to us every time, everywhere in the world. And it's not something that you really can control of it. Usually stretcher is the best way to transfer or to evacuate a person. You can come and ask me theoretically, if you won't have enough or at all stretchers, of course we will find other solutions. the commander or every commander, because you have some commanders in some level in situation like that, every commander has to be at the place that he can influence as best as he can the situation. It means the commander that command the situation, the event, the incident at the scene, he has to be at the scene. The commander that has to take decisions about national or regional decisions like moving resources from one region to another region or from one hospital to several hospitals, things like that, he don't have to stay at the scene. Vice versa, sometimes he has to be in the command and control center to have the information from all over the hospitals and the other regions to make the right decisions. First of all, burns is a very, very big problem all over the world because usually most of the countries have a very limited burn beds. And this is the reason that for a situation like that, for example, most of the countries in the world, I'm not speaking about very, very big countries, but most of the normal countries, they wouldn't have enough burn beds. So, of course, you can use intensive care beds and things like that, but when I say you wouldn't have enough burns beds, it means that you wouldn't have enough staff that are specialized in burns to deal with the situation. So this is a very complicated situation that you have usually to ask an international relief or assistance to move patients with burns to other countries or to other regions. It depends by the country. But first of all, you have to stabilize them because if not, they will die on the way. This is one point. The second point is when we are dealing with injuries, the trauma surgeons will tell you that they have something that they call unpreventable death. It means some of the people that died usually very close to the event, to the incident, at the scene. A lot of them, some people will tell you all of them, but a lot of them are people that are injuries that the chance to survive them is very, very low, or you don't have a chance to survive them.